Hey everybody, Mark here from 8 Minute Acts, and today I am going to count down my 8 favorite Rush intro guitar riffs. Now I was going to do just my 8 favorite Rush riffs, but once I started listening to the tunes I realized that I could come up with 5 riffs within La Via Strangiato alone, so I figured I would just stick with intro riffs for this video. So I'm also going to give you a little piece of trivia with each of the songs. I'm going to try to tie each piece of trivia with each song in the countdown, and that's coming up next. This is my face in take 7. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So I'm going to count down my top 8 favorite Rush intro riffs of all time, and I've tweaked my processor to try to get sounds pretty close to what the songs are like, but you know Alex used a plethora of effects, so I'm just kind of ballparking it here. So cut me a little slack on these, okay? So coming in at number 8 is Working Man. So we're going to rock it out. All right, so Working Man number 8. So those of you that are big Rush fans probably know this, but for some of you may not know that Working Man was the last song that Rush ever played on tour. So on August 1st, 2015 in LA, Rush played their last concert, which will ultimately be their last concert ever. And they closed with Working Man, and they put a little bit of a song called Garden Road in there. Again, big Rush fans will know Garden Road. It was one of their early tunes that didn't make an album. But Working Man was the last Rush song ever played live by the three guys. Okay, so coming in at number 7 is Bastille Day off of Caress of Steel. And again, Bastille Day is off of Caress of Steel, released in 1975. And once Rush released that album and went on tour, they opened with Bastille Day for the next 4 years. They played Bastille Day as their opening tune on the Caress of Steel tour, on the 2112 tour, on the Farewell to Kings tour, and the Hemispheres tour. But then in '81 on the Moving Pictures tour, it was the last time they played that song live. So I've never seen them play it live myself. I started watching Rush, or my first Rush concert was in 1985, so I didn't get to see them play that. But it's interesting how they led with that song for 4 years, and they didn't play it again after 1981. All right, so I am biased towards early Rush, but I did have to put a couple later Rush tunes on here. And when I say later Rush, I mean anything after Moving Pictures I consider later Rush. So coming in at number 6 is Analog Kid. So let me see if I can dial up a sound for Analog Kid. All right, so I got most of this trivia off the internet, like we get most things these days, and I was reading that the line, the fawn-eyed girl with the sun-brown legs, is actually referring to a girl, Neil was referring to a girl that he met when he was camping in Ohio in 1967. It was one of his first loves, so I thought that was a pretty cool fact. All right, so coming in at number 5 is A Passage to Bangkok. right, so you've probably figured out that A Passage to Bangkok is about Rush's dabbling with drugs. And we know the guys didn't really take many drugs over the years. I think Alex smoked a little hash for a while, and Neil, when he was a kid, experimented with LSD. But again, the guys were not big drug users by any means. But one cool thing I thought is that Neil, when he was working on the title of the song, was reading E.M. Forster's A Passage to India. So that's where he got the title from, A Passage to Bangkok. All right, so coming in at number 4 is Free Will. All right, so this is pretty cool. So the original lyrics to Free Will were, if you choose not to decide, you cannot have made a choice. And it was rare that Geddy ever questioned any of Neil's lyrics, but apparently Geddy sang that for a while, and I believe they even recorded a version with those lyrics. And finally he said, Neil, this doesn't make sense. So they finally agreed to change the words to what the words ended up being, which are, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. All right, coming in at number 3 is Anthem. So Anthem is actually the independent label, or the name of the independent label that Rush launched in 1976. It's an independent label in Canada, and I thought this was pretty cool too. So in 1977, they released their first single off of their Anthem label, or on their Anthem label, and it was Making Memories backed with Temples of Syrinx. So that's interesting. So they actually released Making Memories as an A-side single in Canada in 1977. All right, coming in at number 2 is Limelight. So I wanted to find something totally unique about Limelight, and I couldn't. So here's what I've got. The history of Limelight, of where In the Limelight comes from. So in 1816, a Scottish engineer named Drummond somehow figured out that burning limestone with hydrogen and oxygen created this really bright glow. And they were able to harness this, and they used it on the stage in the 1850s and 1860s. So they actually had a flame that they pointed at the limestone, and they would turn the limestone to create a constant glow, and they would somehow harness the light and aim it at the stage. And that's where In the Limelight comes from. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, so coming in at number 1, easy choice, The Spirit of Radio. Okay, so there's my top 8 Rush intro riffs of all time. I would love to hear yours, so please leave a comment below. Let me know what your top 8, top 10, or top 20 Rush riffs are. Let me know what you think of my list. I love having conversations with you guys, so please leave a comment. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.